Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Black Men Matter series on the male perspective. The podcast that's all about dispelling stereotypes and shining a light on the rich and varied experiences of Black men from all around the world. Each episode aims to broaden understanding and foster appreciation for their unique stories that often go unheard. Now, here is your host, Lana Reid, to introduce you to yet another remarkable Black man with an insightful perspective to share.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today is a fantabulous day. I get to once again sit down with the amazing men of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. More specifically, I have the brothers of Eta Nu Nu out in Columbus, Ohio, getting the opportunity to sit down and chat with them once again. And I have with me today Brother Coleman, Brother Peacock, and Brother Jeffries, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with them today. But first and foremost, as you gentlemen know, I take a quick moment to pause and say thank you to you all for making time for me. Once again, time is a gift. Once we give it, we can't get it back. So I truly appreciate you all sitting down and making time to chat with me. And with that, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you, Lana. We really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank
you. It has been about a year and a half, as we were discussing, since I last sat down with you gentlemen. And as I was roaming around your website and social media doing my nosy thing, I see you gentlemen have been doing some wonderful stuff. So first and foremost, congratulations. You have racked up some more district awards, I see. Can you share with us, because I don't want to mess it up, can you share what you guys have done?
Oh yeah, I mean, actually, it's really been a tremendous ride, and I think to put things in perspective, our chapter is going into our fifth year as from chartering, fifth year for chartering, and since the very first year, we have been winning district awards at the chapter. First year as a small chapter level, being the small chapter of the year and the graduate chapter of the year and social action chapter of the year. And then now we have excelled to large graduate chapters category, and we are 3 times winner of the large graduate chapter of the year, and we won social action chapter of the year. And I think we really, really have a great opportunity to win at the international level just based on the work. I think we've had opportunities before, but our documentation of the work is what really sets things apart, that we've really focused on making sure that we chronicle that history, because Brother Dr. Jeffries is saying that he's going to write a book. So we have to make sure that we can chronicle that history so he can write a book, because really, I think we're on really rare ground right now in the fraternity. And not just that, we have taken every mandated program and come up with our own creative and innovative way of approaching that, and really have been impactful for the community. But yeah, we won a number of individual awards. This is actually the most awards that we've won. We won 6 out of the 10 district awards this year. Last year we won 5 out of 10 last year, and I think we won 4 out of the 10. So we just been creeping up, okay? We're creeping up. But the thing about it is everything is merit based on the service that we're actually doing in the community. And then I think we are the only graduate only fraternity in Columbus, Ohio, that have consistently won outstanding chapter of the year for the NPHC 3 years in a row as well. So we have really put in a very dominant performance. And these brothers work. You see these brothers, they don't come on this podcast unless they got their hands to the plow. So these brothers have been getting it in. And then with that, I will kind of turn it back to you. But yeah, we're very, very happy. And I think we're very, very hopeful. And we will let you know
Thank you.
in July.
This July.
July 26th is when we have the 24th through the 27th in Detroit is our International Leadership Conference. And then during that time, on that Saturday, they will announce the winner of the different chapter categories and individual categories. And we're grateful we'll be competing in 4 different categories. And then so we're grateful that our chapter will win and get that international recognition that we know we're so well deserving.
About how many brothers are in the chapter now?
With 66 financial brothers, so we're small, but you wouldn't know it based on the work that we're actually doing. We're beating chapters in our district that's 3 times larger than us, and they can't hold water to us. And I'm not saying that in a braggadocious
I
way,
know,
but I said, hey, and Brother Jerry said, hey, don't advertise with Brother Coleman. I said, no, because they're not going to outwork us. You're not going to outwork us. You're going to outwork us and
so
impact the community like we're doing.
so the rest of the brothers in the district are like, oh, here come them 614s again. Here come them 614s again.
Well, I think finally, I think the first year we won large graduate chapter year, I thought they thought it was an anomaly. Last year in Cincinnati, they formed cohorts, huddles right after the banquet. I guess they were looking at their strategy, and then now with 3 years in a row, they say, okay, obviously they're doing something. So I had a number, probably 10 of the graduate chapter boss leaders come to me afterwards and say, hey, look, I want to have a conversation with you.
There you go.
Guys are doing. And we're all about uplifting because if we uplift the district, that means we uplifting communities.
That's right.
Communities, we're impactful. So we won't give them 100% of our secret sauce, but we will elevate.
It'll be a teachable moment. It'll be a teachable moment.
Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. I like it. Now, leading into or kind of building on that, I also saw that you gentlemen have increased your scholarship dollars tremendously. Like, I mean, just wow. What do you attribute to that? Because those numbers are just mind blowing.
So it's so fortunate that Dr. Jeffries is our scholarship chair.
Okay,
So I would allow him to chime in at this time.
that
Talk
I
a little
mean,
bit.
whoo.
Well, first of all, before I answer that question, Sister Reed, I just want to make something perfectly clear. We're not addicted, nor do we get intoxicated with these awards. The awards that we win are just a natural byproduct of the work that we put in. I tell people all the time, hey, listen, Eta Nu Nu, 982, enhancing Black people's lives is what we do. If you don't know, now you know.
There you go.
The scholarship, in terms of the scholarship money, really that is the result of work that Brother Colonel Matthew Coleman has been doing on the ground and in boardrooms throughout Central Ohio, raising money and whatnot. But equally as impressive is not only the more than $500,000 that the chapter has raised, largely due to his efforts. Let's be clear about that. But the institutions of higher learning into which we're shepherding these young people. So these young people, with our help, are being admitted into HBCUs like North Carolina A&T, Spelman College, Morehouse College, to PWIs like University of Michigan and Berkeley College of Music. It's not just that they're being admitted into these kind of prestigious institutions, but they're being admitted into these prestigious institutions that have built a reputation in areas like science, technology, engineering, and math, as well as the arts. So we have. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Coleman. We have 3 students right now who are at the Berkeley College of Music, and we're going to parlay those contacts into getting students admitted into Juilliard. Now, I know in my short presentation, I'm privileging the PWIs, but make no mistake about it. When we are evaluating the applications that these kids submit to us in order to get these scholarships, right? We look very closely at students who endeavor to matriculate at HBCUs. All 3 of us, although I didn't graduate from the HBCU, I graduated from Old Dominion University, but I started in the HBCU, Norfolk State University, which is also in Norfolk. All 3 of us are products of HBCUs. Brother Coleman being South Carolina State University, right? In Orangeburg, you got Brother Peacock being a graduate of West Virginia State University, and again, me starting out at North State University. So HBCUs are really near and dear to our heart. And if a student comes to us with high potential, person doesn't necessarily have to have the highest GPA, but has to meet a minimum. And this person demonstrates a passion about attending an HBCU, we give that person a very close examination when we compare and contrast that person's application to those who, let's say, are interested in attending the Ohio State University. While I am a professor at the Ohio State University and been so since 2006, my allegiance is to people. My loyalty is to people. My loyalty is to the students, not to the institution. So if I have an opportunity to recommend a student to go to West Virginia State University, South Carolina State University, Voorhees, or another HBCU, I'm going to do that before I would recommend OSU all day long.
There you go. There you go. It's a healthier learning environment for our children. So yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to say is that one of the things that we did is there's an organization called I Know I Can, and we actually the first actually partners, like formal partners with a formal partnership agreement. They are the largest producers of minority scholarships in the state of Ohio. One of the things that we did is we're the first organization that have made a multi-year commitment to this organization and providing scholarships to students going to HBCUs. Now, these scholarships are $40,000 scholarship, $10,000 a year for 4 years. And then currently we have selected three young ladies and a gentleman for those scholarships so far, and we have 3 other selections. But once we get through with that commitment, we will actually re-engage and re-up again because we think it's just that vitally important. One of the significant things that I mentioned during our chapter meeting last night and brothers talked about with this SALT on DEI, because we know that scholarships that were available to our people are no longer available to our people. And so what we have made a commitment to, that we were not going to retreat, we were not going to retract, but actually this year is the most scholarships that we would have given out because we're going to give more and sustain ourselves through this because we're a very strategic thinking organization. And that's what have allowed us to achieve the levels of success. We don't think at the tactical operation level, we're thinking strategic level. And then we're just looking at different ways to be able to continue to sustain that funding to be able to support, because if we don't invest in their futures, who will? And so as brothers, we are standing up and making our own statement to say, regardless of what administration does, we as African American men, we're going to support the Black community, and this is how we do it.
Yeah.
Our investment in their futures.
Because I think also with the pulling of funds from some of our HBCUs, it's going to be much more challenging for our students to get the funds to go to school that they need. So it's very important that you gentlemen are doing this work. I mean, but I want to backtrack a little bit because the I Know I Can, is that just unique to your chapter or is that a partnership?
No, it's unique to Ohio.
Oh.
And there's been other organizations that in its history that has sponsored a scholarship. But if you took all of the Divine Nine, the 14 other chapters in Columbus, Ohio, we are the largest contributors, all of them put together, okay? Because we're dedicated and committed to what we actually do. One of the things that we also have is we do have a dance merit scholarship that's with Dance Elite Performance Academy, and we have 3 string merit scholars with Urban String Columbus. And these are middle and high school students that we're investing in them now as they mature in their art, and then provide them the encouragement that they need to continue to showcase their talent for years to come, and hopefully, make careers in those fields.
Now, Brother Jeffries, you don't get in trouble at Ohio State for sending all the kids to HBCUs and stuff? Staff is not saying, excuse me.
I don't know about the getting in trouble, because I'm at the highest rank that you could possibly be as a professor. I'm a full professor, so I can pay, do, and behave in any way I so choose. But listen, Sister Reed, before you go to Brother Peacock, let me mention something. Let me mention something about the scholarship. So you know what? I'll come back to that. We'll have time. I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I'll tie it all up in a nice, neat little bow before the telecast ends, but I'll come back to that.
Yeah. So, by way of introducing Brother Peacock, one of the initiatives, there's an area, a community called the Lynon Community in Columbus, Ohio. If you want to characterize it, you can characterize it as a disenfranchised community. And there was a lot of issues, not only with violence, but with literacy, very low scores, and it's just a myriad of things when it comes to learning. One of the things that we did after going to Columbus City schools and trying to say, hey, look, we have programs that we can institute. All we need is a little bit of funding to be able to do it. And, for years, we've been trying to break that code. Well, this year, we made a proposal to the City of Columbus Department of Neighborhoods for that area. And they saw that we had a strategic plan. And when you're dealing strategically, you have to look at how you shape things in the future. And we wanted to start it with the elementary school. And then we came up with 4 things that we wanted to do. We wanted to implement our Omega STEM program. We wanted to implement fatherhood and mentoring program. We wanted to implement a Chess for Success program for all the reasons which Brother Peacock will explain. We had an assault on literacy program. It actually 5 things. And then the last thing, we wanted to provide them with enhanced learning experiences so that they can see something outside of their community that may inspire them. For example, last year when we did the day in the life of a Buckeye, that was the first time a lot of those kids have ever went on the Ohio State University campus. And then one of the young men whose father is deceased, he said, my father went here. And then he looked at his teacher and said, I want to go here too. So that type of inspiration and providing that, and we've really did artful of integrating different aspects of STEM. They got skating and math. A lot of folks don't know that. There's Lego League have a bunch of different STEM related programs. We have done so many things, but one of the biggest successes that we've had is implementation of our Chess for Success program. And I will stop here and allow Brother Peacock to talk, because he came up with a different modality to approach these students, and it's having taken effects in these elementary schools and in middle school as well.
Now, Brother Peacock, I think the last time we talked, I had the pleasure of seeing some of your sets, but now I don't think I'm going to get to see them today, huh?
No, ma'am. I'm a year older, so I can't lift that wood. I can't lift that wood. I can't do that like I was that time.
All right. All righty. So the Chess for Success program, I did see that initiative on the website, or I think it was the Instagram or whatever. I guess, what's the program about?
The number one goal is rechanneling a feeder system to the high school. That was the number one goal. Number 2 goal was moving students into an intellectual level. Many of our students are struggling in the public schools. And so our leadership saw, because our leadership attacks disparities, we are like a family restoration ministry. The bosses had us do dementia, grandparents, breast cancer, mom, prostate cancer, pop, and Chest for Success for the youth in precision. So the kids are coming, they all are delayed basically. And within a year, the goal is to catch them up academically and move them forward in their thought process. The number one goal at one level is developing the executive functions of the brain, being able to self regulate, being able to focus, because what the teachers are experiencing in the classroom is really a result of the brain just not being fully developed. And chess is the quickest method, the quickest technique to get our kids ready so that they can receive the academic rewards that the Basileus presents in the scholarship. But I would like to say something that you brought up. I was a recruiter for Ohio State. I got fired for doing what you suggested. I sent kids to black colleges instead of Ohio State, and one of my students became a professor. And he said, "Your problem was you was too militant. You blatantly sent us to black colleges when you were supposed to send us to Ohio State." And we prospered, but that was the wrong move. So I've learned. I stay with the precision of the boss list. I stay with the academic precision of Dr. Jeffries. Stay the course. And so our students are prospering. We're at the high school now doing chess. And doing chess at the high school, many kids, we have a lot of really rough kids. I call them gangster kids. They're migrating to chess. They're going to one brother's classroom and they're playing chess. And now we pretty much have almost the whole school playing chess. When I first got there, you saw fights almost every day. But the boss is a military colonel. And so if I wanted to leave, he gonna tell me, bro, you got to stay the course. You were made for this.
Hold the line. Hold the
Yep.
line.
He basically would say that. And so now you see the change of our students academically realizing while they're in school, staying the course, and getting the grades that they need. But you cannot come out and say that to most African American students. So you create the reward first. What I do is I'll go in, always pair the male up with a female because I'm attacking domestic violence through chess. If I sit down and play you, I submit to you in my conscience. If I submit to you in my conscience, I will not hit you with my fist. And I drill them on the techniques of the game. Normally, the males begin to move because they're not used to sitting with a girl. So I'm working on them calming down, self-regulation indirectly. So chess serves a multitude of purpose while raising their academics. You attack the deficiencies in their lifestyle as well. And it's working. Other schools have asked us to come. I've been contacted from a brother in Cleveland and a brother in West Virginia wanting to do the same program that the bosses and Dr. Jeffries have put time into and developing the encouragement to go in there and work the kids.
So how is it incorporated into the curriculum? Do they see you once a week or once a
They
day?
see
Or
me once a week, but one school went out and hired professional chess coaches, a man and a woman, not related. And she was going to counsel me until the librarian spoke and said, "You don't counsel Brother Peacock," which is the name I go by, professor or brother. She said, because he teaches life skills. These gentlemen just teach win and loss. When you teach win and loss, then our students suffer mental health issues because win and loss affects their self-esteem. But when you teach the life skills, you can subconsciously attack those social ills that are affecting our students. And so she hired professional coaches because we were going to have a tournament. So see them once a week, depending on, and I see them for an hour to 2 hours, depending on how you administer the process, you see the growth immediately. I give the students $1 every time they play a game and win. That way they're learning subconsciously. You're getting paid for thinking, not manual labor throwing boxes because your body wears out. I follow Dr. Jeffries to the T. You can see the rewards of higher learning, having a PhD at the university like Ohio State because of what it allows you to do. Now we have students, and I tell the students, if you go to chess tournaments and you keep playing, you can get a full scholarship to a university. They locked in on that, especially the Spanish students. They locked in on that and they're playing. And we have a few of them coming to Lynon High School next year. So I only see them once a week, but it works.
There's so many learning lessons in there that, because I hear a lot of the younger kids are struggling with social interaction because, being on these technology devices, so they're not learning that, face-to-face communication. So just hearing you pairing them up, is kind of a lot of life skills. I mean, I had already knew chess was life skills, but, just the way you've incorporated it, I like that. I just like that. Jeffries, you look like you were going to say something.
So all of this falls under the category of scholarship. What I was gonna mention earlier is that the money that we raise for these scholarships is ever more important in this era, mainly because Brother Peacock, um, Brother Coleman, and myself, all of us went to college. All of us went to college and graduated in the 80s.
Mm.
Well, there's no comparison between the tuition that we paid, right, in the mid 80s to the tuition that kids and their parents are paying
I
in
don't know.
2025. So if you were, I don't remember what the tuition was at Old Dominion, but if you compared the tuition in 1985, which by the way was a good year, if you compared the tuition 1985 to tuition in 2025, it's night and day. The tuition is exorbitant.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I point that out,
Right.
to read, is because our scholarship program, I can't think of an era where our scholarship program is more significant than now. Because hey, listen, as a college professor, I fashion myself as an educator who keeps his finger on the pulse of what's going on. I predict in the next 10 years, Sister Reed, working class families will not be able to afford their kids, will not be able to afford to send their kids to college.
Mm-hmm.
That the only viable option for them will be community college, but it won't be a 4-year institution like South Carolina. It won't be a 4-year institution like the Ohio State University,
Mm-hmm.
because institutions like the Ohio State University are steadily becoming private, public Ivies.
Mm-hmm.
You got the exponential raise in tuition. You got the exponential raise in SAT scores and ACT scores, right? The exponential increase in the GPAs. Yeah, I don't know how poor people are going to be able to afford to send their kids to college in the next 10 years. And if they have to rely on loans that they have to pay back, the kids, when they graduate, those loans will not be paid off until they have grandkids. I mean, so
Yeah.
so our scholarship program and our raising of these impressive amounts of money, I can't think of a time where doing so is more important than that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You would think that the country that we would want to produce more educated individuals and create pathways to that. I mean, that's only how we can excel as a country. But thank
Well,
goodness
well,
we have
Lana,
that.
yeah, that's a good segue to jump into about our Salt on Literacy program. And I know you out there, you still in California, LA, or
Mm-hmm.
okay. So I have to have a special shout out to the University of Southern California, which Dr. Jeffries is an
I'm
alumni
a
of.
Bruin. We discussed this last time. I'm a Bruin.
Well, they had a program which we applied to that provided STEM books. These STEM books were written by Black and Brown professors at the university. And as such, they gave us our initial was 1,000 of these STEM books. And that also comes with a free online curriculum that the teachers can actually use as a resource. We did such a great job of, social media and other um, media to publicize that. They offered us additional books and they gave us additional 1,500 books. We were able to distribute that to 24 elementary schools throughout Columbus City Schools. In addition to that, we went ahead and purchased over 2,000 books that were written by Black authors and illustrators. And we gave that to the elementary school kids. These are hardcover books that they take home with them to create their own at-home library. And that's how we're trying to get after the literacy. We're working very, very hard on that and to be able to sustain these programs. But that's how we get after it. And if we build them, get better readers and better in math and all these other things and more exposure in life through our enhanced learning experiences, then imagine what they become when they start hitting high school. And so if you don't shape them early,
True.
you're going to lose them late. And so what we're trying to do is be downstream from a strategic perspective. Our investment today, look at where it's going to be 10 years from now. And I think that's the way you have to look at it. Invest now. Let's uplift those kids from those communities so that they are inspired and feel like they can have more.
The Columbus School District, is that one of the school districts that's pulling back or banning diverse books? I mean, it would seem like it's very important that you guys are putting these books in kids' hands.
Um, I wouldn't say they're banning diverse books. I know that there's about $45 million that's being pulled from Columbus City Schools, so that will definitely have some sort of adverse impact. And I know that in schools, at least talking to my sister-in-law who's in state of South Carolina, critical race theory and all those things are is kind of the topic of the day that they're cutting in those programs. I'm sure similarly with the state of Ohio being a conservative state, that that's probably kind of sort of in the works.
But I mean, it goes back to, because we were talking about HBCUs. It goes back to how students become successful when they see representation of themselves in their learning materials and environments where they see educators that look like them, and it promotes us. So it just only seems common sense to give them reading materials where they can see themselves. So I mean,
Particularly in a neighborhood that 90% is Black and brown. Uh, if they don't see, if the only thing that they see is everything written and illustrated by white folks, then how do you aspire that? I mean, Brother Peacock had a great way of, when he was doing chess pieces, he would change the colors of the chess pieces, not the black and white, because white always, but I'll let him explain that.
So what he's talking about is I was teaching chess on the streets. A gentleman fresh out of prison stood there and he watched me teach. And then when the kids left, he was fresh out, brown suit, brown pants, brown bag. And he said, "You're teaching white supremacy." I said, "How?" He said, "White moves first." He said, "White squares on the right. Subconsciously, white is always right." When he finished, I was in tears and I asked him, "How did he learn this?" He said, "We spent a lot of time reading." He said, "Well, what you'll notice is a lot of men in prison play chess, but they won't teach their children when they become released." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because they know they're teaching subliminal racism." So what I did, I created chessboards of different colors. I would use different pieces. Whenever a male is playing, I would put pink and green cut pieces on the board. I knew he was going to go through changes because those are feminine colors. But the goal is to get him to see the mission at hand is playing the game. And so with the females, I would put dark colors many times, like red and black. They will go through changes. You can see the females going through changes, and I would explain to them the mission at hand is what you need to focus on. Then I would design, and you've seen the chessboards. So many times you can move our students forward without telling them what you're trying to do because they're going to face situations. I will close with this. If you go in most inner cities, you will see billboards. On the billboard, you'll see one woman, three men, all of them drinking MD 2020. When I grew up, I'm 65. Then you will see one man, three women, all smoking cool cigarettes. What is the subliminal message? In my community, most of my classmates had a lot of children. A lot of us had cirrhosis of the liver and lung cancer. So the subliminal messages work. You do the same thing in the learning process. Train them, think before you move, think before you touch a piece. And when you see the male hesitate to touch a female color, move his mind beyond that. It's just a chess piece. Play
Critical
the
thinking.
game at hand.
Critical thinking. Critical
Amen.
thinking. It'll
Yeah.
carry you far in life. It'll carry you so far in life. Yeah. Now, let me segue here because you got some other stuff I saw that you gentlemen were doing, and I think this is unique to your chapter. Correct me if I'm wrong. Man, please check yourself. The prostate cancer. Now, let me and I'm going to ask you this because getting men, especially Black men, to do the prostate whole thing is a little tricky to navigate, so what are you gentlemen doing to kind of destigmatize that and say, hey brother, you need to learn about this because it's an uncomfortable conversation, and we love you gentlemen and we want you guys to do it. So what are you gentlemen doing here with this man please?
Well, we actually have a very integrated program. It's not just that, it's a lot of screening, health screening that actually takes place, also vaccinations, as well as we have a mental health proponent that's a part of that. And that they like because we have massage therapists that's in there. So the guys get a real big kick out of that.
Brother Peacock. I like that part.
We have integrated some healthcare studies as a part of our health initiative programs, like the colorectal cancer study. We did have the nicotine study that was actually a part, and these are in conjunction with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center or the James Comprehensive Cancer Care Center. So we work with a lot of community advocates. I call them the coalition. Everybody from Life Care Alliance to the Columbus Cancer Clinic, but they've been an integrated part of all of these programs, be it the breast cancer program, the prostate cancer program, and then we got another one that's coming your way. It'll be the very first adult walk for diabetes in the city of Columbus, and that's on August 23rd. And we came back thinking about a theme for that, and we went all the way back to our cultural roots of our grandmothers and great grandmothers, and it's the Walk With Me Sugar, 5K run walk against diabetes.
Walk with me, sugar. Oh, right. And before that, though, you also have a golf tournament before
Yes.
this. So you guys are busy, right?
Oh yeah, it's the swing for scholars. And it's just that continuation effort to highlight scholars and scholarship and what we're going to do to raise that money to support our young brothers and sisters that's coming out of high school. Yeah, so we were lucky to have the 1911 Foundation, which is our fiscal agent, to become title sponsors for that. And so we will have several NIL players. There's a gentleman with four-star Freightliner, Mr. Jerry Cocan, and he has several NIL players on the Ohio State University. So we should see some of them that appear at the event. But our event is always integrated. It's not just that. We try to showcase our scholars any chance that we get. One of the things that we will have is some young men from the Columbus Urban League, I Am My Brother's Keeper program. We will have a mentorship session with them and an introduction to golf as a part of that mentorship session. So all three of us will be involved in that mentorship piece with those young men. Last year, with those young men, we had three that were juniors. And as a part of that engagement, we offered all three of them scholarships uh, when they continue in that program, keep their grades up, stay out of trouble. And then they was trying to wonder, well, you just met us. why would you offer scholarships? And I said, because you're important enough for us to invest in your future. And we're telling you this, that you're important, so that you look at yourself as important. So not only that, but in our budget planning for next year, on the scholarship committee slide, we have those three names listed because we don't want to forget who they are and know that they're already allocated for scholarships. And that's one of the unique things about our scholarship program. Those kids that from the performing arts that support like our talent hunt program, they stay in that program and compete for several years. When they become seniors, we incentivize the program by giving them scholarships. So I think that's a great way of keeping students, these young men and women engaged in these great program activities that we actually put together. And then at the end of the day, they actually get something out of their participation. I think that's very, very important.
Oh, it's very important, very important. Uh, Let me pause for a minute and ask a question as I'm taking all of this wonderful information that you gentlemen are, all of the work that you gentlemen are up to. Um, and it's a general question. You guys have been around what, 5 years now? You said
Close. Four
close
and a
to
half.
5 years, and just a general question on leadership and team building. What do you think has made you guys so impactful and successful in such a short period of time?
I'll let Brother Jeffries take that.
Hey, listen, Sister Reed. Well, first of all, it has a lot to do with Brother Coleman's leadership. Listen, I've told Brother Coleman this, and in fact, I've mentioned this. I mentioned this at our first meeting with our book club, Omega Book Club, last month. We could talk about that later. I said to them, and Brother Peacock can attest to this. I was saying to them, hey, listen, don't take for granted what we're doing here, because what we're doing is unprecedented, right? And I said to them, what the success that we've had is in large part the result of Brother Coleman's leadership. Now, listen to what I'm about to tell you, Sister Reed. Listen, I've been around for 59 years. Right? And I have encountered thousands upon thousands of my peers. So, Brother Peacock, Brother Coleman, and Brother Mine, we're peers. We were in high school at the same time. We were in college at the same time. Although Brother Peacock graduated a few years before Brother Coleman and I, right? But we're peers, right? Um, I've never met a peer, a male peer. I've never met a male peer, right, who has been as impressive as Brother Coleman. I'm man enough to say it. I have absolutely not met another black male peer as impressive as Brother Coleman. Second, at the end of the day, Sister Reed, at the end of the day, it's about, hey, listen, are you committed to doing what's necessary to enhance the life chances of people of African descent? Are you committed to doing that in whatever capacity, in whatever field and endeavor you happen to exist? Are you committed to doing it? We have some brothers, we like to have more, right? I'll leave it at that. We have some brothers who are committed to enhancing the life chances of people of African descent. Listen, so when Brother Coleman took over as the Basileus, he made a concerted effort to say, okay, hey, listen, I said to him, hey, listen, these nationally mandated programs that we have been conducting since time immemorial, right? At the end of the day, they're tired. Most of them are tired, right? Most of them were created long before Coleman, Jeffries, and Peacock
True.
ever stepped on this planet.
True.
So as a result, the kind of issues, maladies, concerns, roadblocks, stumbling blocks that we encounter in 2021 or 2022, whenever Brother Coleman took over, it's entirely different or it's appreciably different than the life that the founders encountered
100
in
years ago.
1911. So we have to adjust and create programs that actually address some of the social determinants of health that we encounter in this era. So one of the things that drives us, Sister Reed, is Black disparity data. Now we have a chapter, brother, Charles Coleman, P.L.E.A.S.E Cross 1989 Jackson State.
Remember.
And, you know, he and I was always talking about Black disparity data, right? So we look at the Black disparity data, right? And then we come up with these ideas, largely, Brother Coleman. All right. So we know that Black women are disproportionately impacted by breast cancer. And when I say disproportionately impacted, I mean diagnosed late, right? And succumb to breast cancer quicker than others, right? We also know, hey, listen, that prostate cancer is particular to Black men, right? It's almost as if, man, we have a monopoly on that. So what we decided to do was, hey, listen, let's come up with basically our own. I'm gonna have to plug this computer up. It's about to die. Let's come up with our own set of mandated programs that, at the end of the day, will enhance the life chances of both men and women, and hopefully will gain a following to the point where our national organization, our international organization, will wake up, smell the coffee, and follow our lead. Because at the end of the day, hey, listen, this is all about, hey, listen, how many lives can we impact?
True.
We're trying to uplift communities by impacting and improving Black people's lot, one person at a time. So, Professor Peacock, every other day, Sister Reed, every other day, Professor Peacock is sending me a text saying, hey, listen, Dr. Jeffries, we need to reset the frat. I say to Brother Peacock, pump the brakes. How about let's start with resetting the district? Let's start there. Then we can matriculate from the district to
You
the
got to think
fraternity.
big. You got to think big.
Well, babies also got to crawl before they can walk. So we have some brothers who are dedicated to enhancing life chances of people of African descent, and we have some brothers who have skill sets that match our mission and our vision. Because when Brother Coleman took over, and most Basileus don't do this. When Brother Coleman took over, okay, he developed a 5-year strategic plan or 3-year strategic plan, whatever it was, with a mission and vision, so as to make sure that we don't veer too far from what we intended to do when he took over.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so all of those things have played an instrumental role in our success. And again, we don't covet awards. We don't seek them. We aren't addicted to them. We aren't intoxicated by them. They have simply came as a natural byproduct of the work that we have conducted.
Doing the work. Did you raise your hand, Peacock?
Yes, ma'am. So you picked up that Dr. Jeffries and our bosses Coleman are military men, drivers of men and builders of character. That's what you'll pick up when you listen to them talk. They drive you and build you at the same time. So if you fall left, you're still being driven. If you fall right, you're still being driven. And the character is sticking to the order, the direction that he's leading us or they're leading us that benefits our community.
Yeah, one of the things I want to say, and I know that your time have to wrap, but we have a reputation at Eta Nu Nu with how we recognize young ladies. Every young lady, whether it's a scholarship recipient, whether it's a talent hunt performer, whether we recognize them as an outstanding community partner, or if dance performers for opening show, we give all the young ladies flowers.
Hmm.
They get bouquets of flowers, and that really have resonated and stood out to people of how we recognize them, and you could see their face lit up. As a part of our program, at the end of our talent and scholarship recognition program, the brothers went out to the audience to give individual roles to every lady there because it's in March and it's in celebration of Women History Month. And one of the mothers, she's an executive at NBC4, said that her very first flower that her daughter received was from Black men and the men of Eta Nu Nu. And she said, although the flower died, it's in March, she still has her flower. And it's
Oh.
just about an impact. And so all of our programs, because a lot of time in the Greek-led organization, the males deal with the males, the women deal with the females. All of our programs are co-ed
Mm.
because we're also working in a community that has 70% single moms. And so we identify that. So our influence and impact is even greater in help shaping these young ladies. So we make sure that everything is co-ed. We don't have auxiliary groups. We integrate it into the school system so it allows equal access to everyone. And a lot of times schools will ask, is this from young men? No, the only thing that we get is we'll buy books that's catered to the young ladies,
Mm.
and then we buy books that caters to the young
Mm-hmm.
boys. Other than that, everything else is integrated.
Mm-hmm.
Sister
Mm-hmm.
Reed, let
Yeah.
me augment Brother Coleman's comments for a second about the women. So when Brother Coleman first took over, um, and named me as scholarship chair, one of the questions we got was, "Hey, listen, we're a male organization. Why are we affording young ladies scholarships?"
Mm.
Yeah. Valid question because traditionally, as Brother Coleman just articulated, that's typically how it goes. So
Mm-hmm.
the fraternities, right? Look out for the men, the sorority,
Mm.
look out for the girls, right? Well, I don't know about other fraternities, but one of the things that's unique about the illustrious Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated is, and I'm going to be vague because our history is delicate, so there are certain things that I can't say on this platform, but the illustrious Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated most sacrosanct document talks about our responsibility, our dedication, and protection of women.
Mm.
So we take that very seriously. Most of us do. We take that very seriously in all that we do, not only in our behavior, but in our programs. Hence the reason we have programs like our breast cancer awareness, which is easily, I'm going to say easily, the most powerful of our
Mm.
programs in Eta Nu Nu. So
Mm.
I just want to make that clear that we are charged when you cross the burning sands, you are charged with a certain responsibility to women, and we have incorporated that in all that we do.
Maybe that's why all the ladies kind of
Want
lean
to-
towards the cues, huh? Maybe that's right. I remember early as undergrad, all the ladies was like, "Oh, them cues,
Probably for other reasons as well.
Okay. Okay, Sister
Not to
Joy.
discuss on this podcast.
I remember undergrad on the yard, all the ladies. Where them cues at? Where them cues at?
Okay.
Well, all I'll say to that is that my wife is in the next room, so no comment.
That's no comment. No comment. Let me get on safe ground here. The book club that you gentlemen just started, because Brother Jeffries just mentioned that in the talk. let me get back on safe ground here. The book club. How did that come about? And you guys just the book that I saw, the book that you the first book that you gentlemen introduced to the book club. That was pretty impressive. I like that. So what's the mission behind the book? Is it open for everybody or just your? Oh.
Right now is just for men of Omega. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to immerse men of Omega, and whether they be neos, whether they be seasoned veterans, we're trying to immerse men of Omega in the history of the illustrious Omega Psi Phi Fraternity.
Okay.
Incorporated, but that's not the primary goal. The primary goal is if we're gonna talk about manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift, then we need to live scholarship. You can't live scholarship if you're not a reader, right? You can't live scholarship
True.
if you're not a reader. So at the end of the day, once we get through the history book, we're gonna branch out into other materials, whether they be books, whether they be newspaper articles, whether they be magazine articles, journal articles, and such, because the at the end of the day, what we want to do is help brothers sharpen their critical and analytical thinking skills. So at the end of the day, they can be better stewards of the work of Omega, and be better equipped to address some of the challenges that we continue to face and that will undoubtedly be on the horizon as this person continues to occupy the White House over the next several years. So we want brothers to come, be engaged, participate, become better speakers, better learners, become critical and analytical thinkers, so they can figure out complex problems. So we're going to meet once a month. Our first meeting was last month. Our next meeting is in 2 days on Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's only open to men of Omega. Professor Peacock would like, and this is still up in the air, at some point, but no time recent, at some point, like to open it up to the community, where at the end of the day, we're training folk in the Black community to become thinkers, to become doers. But right now, it's closed to only the men of Omega.
Okay. And that, so the first book, I saw a picture of it. The title, what was the title of it?
With Faith in God and Heart and Mind. That is the illustrious Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated new history book. We hadn't.
Oh, it's a new one.
Yeah, we hadn't had a up-to-date history book since the early 1960s, and 4 men of Omega have done a grade A job in mining the scholarship and putting together a stupendous book. So we are starting with that, and then we're going to matriculate to other pieces.
No,
Go ahead.
Lana, I just wanted to say that Brother Dr. Jeffries also have produced a 2-volume set this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
For Eta Nu Nu or for Omega Psi Phi?
Omega Psi Phi.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we don't get to look at that though. The regular folks, us regular folks.
Yes, we
No.
do.
No, that's open.
Yes, we
That's
do.
public.
Okay.
It's public. Yeah, you
Okay.
can get it on Amazon.
Okay.
There it is right there.
Okay.
I didn't ask Dr. Jeffrey permission, so I'll get hit later on. But they're beautiful books. Beautiful.
I have mine as well.
Beautiful.
Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Let me ask this. You guys have been around for over 100 years now. Change is not easy, especially for older folks, older than us in this room here. But we need it to move forward. And Dr. Jeffries touched on this. Do you think the majority will be embracive of the changes that need to be made so that this can be something thriving 100 years, 200 years, 300 years for those generations that come behind us. We'll be able to turn these corners like you guys are doing it locally in Columbus. You're addressing some of the changes that need to be made locally, but I'm assuming that it needs to be done on a wider scale. And maybe I'm asking too much.
No, I mean, I don't think you're asking too much. Look, I mean, I think what we're doing is really kind of setting an example of what a chapter can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten calls all around the country from
Okay.
brothers or Basileus that now take an interest in what we're actually doing. That's why we have an effort for strategic communication to be able to tell our story, because that's what inspires others if they see the story and then they wonder what we're doing. Right now, the region or the district that we're in has taken note, and we just had an election, but now they want to, hey, figure out what we are doing as a chapter to, achieve the type of success that we're doing, and then trying to figure out how we can raise the level of impact across the district, kind of trying to mirror what we're doing. So it's really more of a philosophical approach that we're actually doing. And any strategic leader knows that they have to look at their environment, because not every the environment is different everywhere you go geographically,
Mm-hmm.
and then try to figure that out. So, right, Dr. Jeffrey, first thing I did was create this 5-year strategic approach. And we actually, the good part or the bad part, we had already exceeded 90% of that by year 2. So caused us to rewrite another one. But yeah, I feel that we've been blessed. Um, and I think, God continues to bestow those blessings on us
Awesome.
for the works that we're actually doing.
Awesome.
Sister Reid, listen, Sister Reid. You hit the nail on the head. More than 100 years old, right? But listen, I will tell anybody, hey, listen, there was not another fraternity that I was interested in when I was a teenager. This was it. But if I'm going to keep it 100, hey, listen, more than 100 years old, yet we have still not actualized our full potential. Nowhere near. We have
Yeah.
not actualized what the founders envisioned for us in 2025. And in many ways, that's embarrassing. Right? That's why we take our charge so seriously. And at the end of the day, we got a president in office. We got a president in office that appears to be so anti people of color that we haven't had since, I'm going to say, a political scientist was president in the name of Woodrow Wilson, the former governor of New Jersey and former president of Princeton University. If brothers can't find an incentive to put their hands to the plow and to do what's necessary to move the needle in this era, if they can't find the necessary gumption in order to do it now, they'll never be able to find it.
There you go.
They will never be able to find it.
There you go.
So when you say, hey, listen, will the majority of people embrace us? The jury is still out on that. What I'm concentrating on, as I told Professor Peacock, what I'm concentrating on is, hey, listen, reorienting the entire, first of all, impacting folk in Columbus and Central Ohio, and reorienting the district, West Virginia and Ohio, and then we can matriculate from there.
Yeah.
And I think that this time, I tell the folks that are close to me, I think this time is a good time for Black folks to relearn that all we do have is each other. So, to have these initiatives in our community that are to uplift our community, it is so vital and so important. And I don't want to be quiet because he's so kind. He raises his hand. Do you get that from being with the kids so much?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
He's so kind.
Yes, I do.
Teacher.
But once I get a PhD, I'm not gonna raise my hand in front of Dr. Jeffries or the Basileus no more though. That's once I get that degree, because I'll be like them. But what happened was the university I graduated from heard about what we were doing and invited us down. Not only was I invited to bring the kids down to West Virginia, they have a chess program. It was created that I come into one of the schools in Charleston and teach chess. The only reason I didn't do it, I don't have a car that can make it that far. But this is how far our reach is reaching. A brother from Cleveland contacted me as well. That's how far the reach of family restoration led by our bosses and Dr. Jeffries is reaching, that people will say, well, can you come? And if I had the car, I would go to Cleveland once a week and I'd go to West Virginia, because you can stir a nation the way they did our community right after slavery, right after Reconstruction. Most of the ministers came together and they worked for one common cause, to uplift the Black people.
Hey, Lana, you see that shirt that he's wearing? Game for
Games.
Grade. So that was actually an initiative where we took 50 students um, up to the Cleveland Cavaliers Dallas Maverick basketball game. And so it's a program to incentivize them to, to work hard and increase their grades. And so that's a program with the 1911 Foundation that we will continue to sustain, where we will measure the effectiveness of where they start at, and then improvement not based off of, the baseline will be their current GPA, and then it's based on their progress and not overall GPA, but how much they have increased their, or sustained if you're a 4.0 student, of course.
Yeah.
But it's just an incentivized way that we're doing. So that was a great program and a great experience for those kids, and that's one that we'll be sustaining in the future as well.
Right, y'all are doing. Well, you know what, gentlemen, I could talk to you because I got more questions here. Let me ask one more. Let me ask one more, and then I ask my random question. So, as I was being nosy on the Instagram, who's in charge of your Instagram? The brother's not here, probably, right? That's the
Brother
younger generation. So I saw that the Conflict Resolution Committee did some work at a mission recently, but my question is not about the service work that they did. The Conflict Resolution Committee, do they handle the disagreements you guys are having in chapter meeting or something, or what specifically?
No, I am the I will handle the disagreement.
I don't like that. I was like, what did they do?
Yeah,
because we don't all get along. We're family. We don't always get along. We got to handle the problems. So I was like, okay, well, maybe that's.
Well, that committee goes a little bit further than just, what you look at when you see conflict resolution, because one of the things that, at the district that they're doing a piece on domestic violence as a part of, conflict resolution. You could marry that with social action, because we do support that initiative as well. But that's what it is. And then I did a piece that Brother Jeffries and I, we do a lot of work together. But I did a piece that was recorded with at the fraternity level, at the international level. I don't think they ever produced a recording, but it was talking about, womanhood. And our responsibility of protecting that. And we took it all the way back to the women's suffrage movement, and then what was actually happening during the early 1900s as the fraternity was forming, and why this became of such importance to us to protect our Black women when they didn't have any rights at all during that time. And they were vulnerable, particularly in southern states, to the viciousness and violence of white men.
Awesome. Well, I've taken up more of your time.
So Lana, you can't wait 18 months now.
I know. I have to have you guys come back. I have to have you guys come back because I'm pretty sure if I just blink my eyes and nobody's like, oh wow, they got another. What are they doing now? Okay, So I wrap up with my random question here, folks. So I got my random question, and then I'm gonna ask you to once again tell us how we connect with you. The golf tournament is open to everybody, and then
Yes.
the diabetes walk on August 23rd, that's open for everybody.
Yes.
So okay.
And for that event, we will be partnered with NBC4. They will be emceeing the program.
Okay.
Now, Sister Reid, you should know that the reason why the Walk With Me Sugar is so important, because there is a community here in Columbus called Bronzeville. Other people like to refer to it as King Lincoln, but its original name was Bronzeville, and it has the highest incident of diabetes in the entire state of Ohio. And it has been such for the past 15 to 20 years.
Columbus, is there a lot of food? I'm assuming it's a lot of us, but is there a lot of food deserts? There's not a lot of, it's like fast foods, not a lot of.
In this one particular community, Bronzeville, again, which is one of the most historic Black communities in the city of Columbus, there's a food desert there. They are in the process now of developing a proposal to bring what you would call sort of like a bodego, not necessarily, Sister Reid, a supermarket, but a bodego that offers fresh produce and the like. But it's been a food desert for, goodness gracious, I don't know how long. But that's one of the reasons why the Walk With Me Sugar. And by the way, Brother Coleman came up with that slogan. But that's the reason why that Walk With Me Sugar is so important. 5K walk.
So the next thing you guys need to do is build a community garden there, so that they will have, some fresh fruit.
Well, there is a space that we sometimes occupy called the African American African Studies Community Extension Center. And adjacent to that building is greenery, which houses a community garden.
Okay. Okay. My question for you is, what is your least favorite food? Least.
I don't know. Brussels sprouts.
I was gonna say beets for me. I can't stand beets.
Oh, that's a good one. Cheese for me.
Cheese?
Yes, ma'am. Grew up in the projects. That block cheese.
That block cheese.
Yeah, that block cheese.
I love me some cheese. I love me some cheese.
I don't know, mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise?
Yeah.
How do you don't eat potato salad?
Mayonnaise, I get ill. All
righty, gentlemen, give us the website. I'll make sure I'll link it to you. But how do we contact with you? Get in contact with you guys if we're ever up in the Columbus area?
Well, you have our emails, you have our numbers. You can go to 614Qs, and there's a where you can provide a message, and that message will definitely come to us.
Awesome. So you're going to be the fearless leader for another 10, 15, 20 years?
No. I'm hoping to give that up to one of these gentlemen.
Jefferson's like, nope. No.
But I could tell you, I spent a lot of time in fraternity, and I've worked at every level. Fraternity, from international committee, member of Supreme Council, district representative, and in different positions in the chapter. And this is probably, I would say without a doubt, my most fulfilling experience that I've had in the fraternity. And the reason for that is that a lot of times you do things in life and you don't really see the impact of what you're actually doing. But each and every day, what we're doing and how we're impacting, we actually see the tangible results of our work and our effort. And I think that's what's so rewarding and fulfilling for me. So this, being the Basileus, just being in Eta Nu Nu in general, I think has been my greatest experience, and my ability to bring all of those experiences with unique and innovative programming, has really, really allowed me to do that. And, just like you said, perfect place, perfect time, that I may not would have been able to implement any of these things if I wasn't working with the brothers in Columbus, Ohio. So I'll always be grateful for the opportunities that allow us to do what we've done over the last several years.
Doing some awesome work. And, you know, I want to, before I close out, I want to circle back here to Brother Jeffries. Last time we talked, one of the things you said was to, you know, kind of look out, because Eta Nu Nu was going to be setting the bar and example for how Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated should be moving. And I do believe you guys have kept that word, that promise that I heard from last time. You guys are just doing some amazing stuff. Like I said, can't blink your eyes and open them. You guys are like, okay, there they go again. There they go again. I like I said, not only does the other 2 chapters in the area probably hate to see you coming, but the other D9 chapters probably hate to see you guys coming. Like, oh gosh, now we got to go to work. We got to work.
Hey, just like that old LA, they're not like us.
They're not like us. No, they're not like us. All right.
Now, Sister Reid. Now, quickly, you know, there's a double-edged sword to that, because you know when you're doing right, when you're doing great things, then the next thing you know, the fangs come out.
Yes, indeed. That's all right. That's all right. Y'all are more than built for it. Y'all more. See them boots back there? Y'all are more than built for it. I got confidence. I ain't seen a Q let me down yet in my 55 going on 56 years. So I got faith. All right. And Brother Peacock, people can buy your chess sets and have them.
Yes, ma'am. I am on Facebook and they could contact me on Facebook, or they could contact me email if they wish. But yes, ma'am, I'm on Facebook.
All right. And brother, one more thing. Your book is available for all. Is it Amazon, or do we have to actually come up to Columbus and pick up one?
No. I mean, you can Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. It's on the bookshelf.
Okay.
Any place that you would normally buy a book, you can order it through that.
All right. Well, gentlemen, as always, I enjoy my time with y'all. Like I said, the ladies love the cues, right? The ladies love the cues. So I enjoy my time. I'm so just tickled to hear the work that you are doing, and you know, setting the standard. Hopefully, the rest of the folks, the rest of the cues will get on board and glean a little information. Like you said, you're not giving up the secret sauce, but hopefully, you're giving up enough. So, you know, and I thank you all for making time for me today. I truly do.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Yes, we do.
All mine.
All right.
Thank you.
That is all.
Have a good evening.
That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Black Men Matter series on The Male Perspective. This is an initiative of Conversations in Color, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to uplifting Black voices. Make sure to check out our website, conversationsincolor.org, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platforms. We'll see you on the next episode.